Hello. My name is Nick Maryhugh. I am a teaching artist with Chicago Arts Partnerships in Education. And this is a video that is specifically for the Dark Star Orchestra, a musical group at Waters Elementary School in Chicago, Illinois. But hopefully some information that is interesting for anyone who happens to stumble upon this video. Today we're going to be talking about graphic scores. When we talk about graphic scores specifically in the context of music, although thinking about the kind of modes of translation and ways of interpreting images, there's a lot of applications. We're going to specifically be talking about how these things affect our sense of sound, or how we can transmute these images into sound. So for those of you in the Dark Star Orchestra, we've been working with graphic scores a lot this year. And today I'm just going to show you a couple examples of scores that I think are really cool and pose kind of an art-making challenge for you while you're out of school right now, while you're social distancing. Maybe this can still be an opportunity for us to work together and for you to continue your own kind of musical journeys, exploring the sounds that you have access to right now in your homes. So I'm going to, before I show this first score, a quick note about graphic scores. When we look at a piece of traditional notation, a piece of music, we've got the staff, we've got maybe notes on the staff that are telling us to play certain pitches and certain rhythms. Really what's happening is we're looking at an image, we're looking at a picture on a piece of paper, and we're translating it into a piece of sound. We're using what we know about musical language to turn a picture into a sound, right? And that's the same thing that's happening in a graphic score, although the images are going to be really different. And I'll show you what I mean right now. So I'm going to shrink my video here. Just going to drag this over to the corner. All right, now I'm small. This is the first piece we're going to look at. This is an excerpt of a piece by an English composer from the mid-20th century named Cornelius Cardew. And Cornelius Cardew was a person who worked extensively with graphic scores. Founded a group called the Scratch Orchestra. Maybe I'll put a link to some recordings of them in the description of this video, or maybe we'll go over some recordings of them in a future video. And a lot of his scores look something like this. So I'm gonna get into this page here. Now you see here on the bottom, we have what looks like a musical staff. We've got these 5 lines where notes and rhythms would normally go. But up here, what is this? We've got these lines, we've got this kind of angle here. We've got these circles. Some of the circles have lines. Some of the circles are overlapping. When we think about music notation, if you look at a piece of traditional music, most of it is just circles and lines. But these, in this iteration, or in this version of these circles and lines, they don't look like a normal musical notation. I would pose the question to you right now, if you were in a musical setting and someone handed you this, how would you play it? Think about it for a second. I mean, what are some of the things that stick out to you? I'm looking here at this kind of upward sweep. And we know with the musical staff, when things move up the musical staff, do they get higher or lower? Take a second, think about it. Higher or lower? They get higher. If you said higher, you are correct. So maybe this is a moment where a bunch of people are playing notes that go whoop. Maybe they're getting higher. Maybe these circles are silences, or maybe these circles are kind of big events. Maybe the size of the circle determines how long you play, or if players overlap or not. You see in this one down here, lots of different lines going. Oh, like this could be a really long doo. This one here could be a woo, something like that. There's a lot of different ways of kind of interpreting these things. You could also decide that you're not going to play the lines. You're only going to play the spaces between them. What would that sound like? Worth thinking about. It's worth noting with all of the scores that we're going to be looking at today that, especially like thinking about Cornelius Cardew's music, there were really specific performance practices. The players in that orchestra knew exactly what those symbols meant. They knew exactly how to play them, and it was really kind of rigid. Not all graphic scores are like that. Some are very open to interpretation. And for those of you in the Dark Star Orchestra who are watching this, you know that we've started to develop our own kind of graphic language of like, what does this symbol mean? We've got the swirls on the drums, and we know that that means to rub the drum head in a circular motion, you know? And we've got a few more symbols that we've used kind of commonly. The ball sound. I got to go this way in the camera. No, I got to go this way in the camera. The ball sound where we hit the drum and then hit it and hit it and hit it and hit it and hit it, hit it, so it sounds like a ball bouncing. We've got a few of those symbols, and groups tend to develop their own kind of voice in relationship to these things. But again, just to note that some of these have really specific performance practices. Don't let that discourage you from kind of experimenting with these things, but just a thing to know. I'm going to skip here to the next one. Oh, not that one. This guy right here. Actually, you know what? Let's do this other one first. This is a score by Anthony Braxton, who is a free jazz musician and a composer and a visual artist. And you can see, if my head's not blocking it, I guess you can't see right now, at the bottom, we've got a title, and it says composition number 366C. So this dude wrote a lot of pieces. This is at least number 366. Now this one, compared to the last one, very little resembles music, right? Like we have these little symbols over here that maybe look like rests. We've got some numbers, and maybe those relate to beats or something. We've got these little circles here. We've got a dark circle here. Maybe those are like note heads, like quarter notes or whole notes. But there's these huge swaths of this beautiful color, this orange and this purple. Now this is like a totally different way of thinking about how we imagine sound. Maybe these are these sweeping gestures. Again, maybe it's like once you start high, you go, but then what does the purple mean? Do you have like a dirtier sound? Do you try and get more noise in it? Is the orange clearer? You can also see there's moments like right here where the paint kind of starts to, you can see there's kind of like a hiccup in the stroke here. There's a lot of white. So maybe that's silence right there. But maybe someone's playing, maybe someone's playing this section here while someone else drops out when they hit this white part. Again, a lot of ways of interpreting this. And I'm going to dip really quick to this last one that we're going to look at. This is a score by a jazz trumpeter named Wadada Leo Smith. Both Anthony Braxton and Wadada Leo Smith are both still active, still making music. This one, again, doesn't seem to totally resemble musical notation that we would normally think of, although you can see here we got a clear as day quarter note right there. One thing to think about is like, what do you think the red sounds like? What kind of sounds are happening when there's red? We've got a very small moment of a dark blue right here. There's a lot of black. There's a lot of yellow. There's this kind of wide shape here compared to down here when it's very thin. How might the sound change if it's very thin? What does this loop-de-loop mean? Do you play it from bottom to top? Do you play it from top to bottom? Do you play it from left to right? All of these are decisions that you as an interpreter could make. Maybe you decide that the yellow sounds are really loud and the red sounds are really quiet. And maybe the blue in the middle, this blue moment right here, right there, is a totally different instrument. You're just going to take another instrument out for 1 second. Or you're going to bang on a pot, or you're going to hit the wall or something, or you're going to jump up and down. These are all decisions that you have access to. My challenge for you, in the next week, I'm going to be posting another tutorial video. I'm going to make a graphic score, and I'm going to perform it using some household objects. My challenge to you is to bust out the colored pencils, bust out the markers, bust out clay or paper, or cut up a magazine, however you want to do it, to create an image, and then make some decisions about what each of those images sounds like. How are you going to perform this score, and what is that going to express for you? If you get done with that and you really like it, try it again. Use the same image, but make completely different decisions. Maybe if something meant a loud sound, maybe this time make it a soft sound and see how it changes the dynamic. If you can, send those recordings to Mr. Bradford. We're going to be in touch in the next few days, or send them to me if you can get a hold of me, or put them in the YouTube comments, and I will try and play them as well. Maybe we can all try and play those scores together. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I know this is kind of a short video. It's kind of like an introductory look at a few different ways of looking at graphic scores. If you have questions, put them in the comments. I'll be checking the comments all the time. I hope everyone is staying safe during this quarantine. I hope everyone is doing as well as they possibly can. And I am looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Stay safe. Bye-bye.